Looks good. I shudder to think why this broke, but look how cheap it is. It's just plastic. Georgia Heat melted it real good, real nice. So instead of spending a couple $100 on cheap plastic, we're going to replace them with this baby. Woo! Sorry, that's going to be really loud. The microphone's right there. Woo! Look at that. So in this house, the big shutters are 71.5, and then there's a 59.5. It's so deceiving because I would guess those are 71. But here's the lazy man method. I put a piece of frog tape at 59.5. I'm gonna do a little minute to win it skill right here. Oh, here we go. Look at that. Come on, baby. Watch out, wasp. Stay asleep. Chase the redhead if you wake up. Huh, 59. I would have thought for sure that was 71. Look at that. Didn't even need a ladder. Oh, crap. Oh! Let's make the wasps angry. And then you just take the tape off. Hey, if you guys like and subscribe, that would just be bananas. Bananas? How many likes does it take to get you to subscribe? No. How many likes does it take? If you want to know, subscribe. Hey, I cut all the pieces for the shutters. So we're just putting the frames together right now. These are the big ones. Big daddies. Let me show you how I orientate. Orient. Sounds weird. Orientate. Let me show you the orientation of these. Come over here. See, cedar's all kinds of wanky. This one's pretty darn straight, but you see this one's got a bow on it. So what I like to do instead of, oh, they both have bows. Look at that. What I like to do instead of pulling it together this way, I like to pull it together this way. So I made a little story stick. Story stick is just a quick way of measuring for me. I make the first measurements on there. So I went through all the math on the first shutter. And I take my story stick, which is the length of a shutter exactly, because I just cut this when I had my stop block in place. And then I know this is perfect center, so I just make my marks, and then I flip it over, make my marks over here. I have this upside down so you can't see my marks, but damn, easy peasy. And I have some shorter ones, so I'll just shrink down my story stick for those. And they'll tell a different story. Be more of a tragedy. So, I've got my outside pieces positioned with the concave out, convex in. Googled that. So I'm just using my story stick to make my mark for my middle brace. None of this is going to be seen. It's just for structure. I've already cut and cragged my pieces. Just easier to rip through them. I had an issue with the Craig jig because these aren't exactly a half. They're not exactly 5/8. And I didn't want to have to go buy small screws. So 1.25 inch screw is what you use for a 3/4 inch stock. So this is all talking very fast, but I set my Craig jig at 3/4, even though this is not that thick. And then my drill bit, instead of being right on the 3/4, I bumped it back a little bit because I didn't want my 1.25 inch screws to go through. In retrospect, I probably should have just went down to 1/2 inch, got some 1-inch Craig screws, but this, yeah, none of this is going to be seen. It's all going to be covered, and I didn't want to spend money on 1-inch screws. So, glue. Flush. All right, so with cedar, I like to set the drill on snug. Doesn't exist, but there should be a snug setting because you don't want to go with the impact because cedar's so soft it'll just spin. And I use coarse threads coarsest I can get because it helps lock it in. Nice and snug. See, that jumped up a little bit, but it'll be all right. Hold strong, little roots. And normally, Craig is structure and it's important, but these are all going to have strips over them that connect everything together. So this will hold it together until everything is secure. Snug. I gotta quit saying snug. Snug. Like Capcom. Giggly today. Sleep deprivation. Snug. Knock it off. What the heck's going? All right, now that we've got the big E, WWE, breakfast burrito, McDonald's. Sorry. What? What? Biggie. Biggie. What? Oh. Ooh, look at the concave on this one. So I put the concave on the, always get them mixed up. Concave, you're going into the cave. Convex, what? Concave is this one. This. Oh, look. Oh, that hurts. Ah, like the Hurley H. That's how I want it. I start at the top and I'm going to work my way down and you can see the concave. All right, suck in your belly, E-brace. Oh, man. How am I ever going to pull this together? Oh. This is awesome, however you frame it. I love this. It's so nice. And this is kind of anal, but when I'm going through multiple, I like to stack them on top of each other nice and neat. The best is when you're planing cutting boards or charcuteries and you set one down and then you got one so flat and beautiful and you set it on top, and when you go to pick it up there's a little bit of suction because you've made it so perfect. So I come and look at my stack, not really looking for anything. I just don't want, like this is, that's perfect for carpenter bees, even though the ebonizing keeps them away. And they were nice and dried out. I'll have to put the moisture meter on it just to see, but normally they're soaking wet. It drives me nuts. I got to set in the studio for a couple months to dry out. Just going to trim off the edge, get a nice square edge. Oh, and then I'm going to set a stop block. But here's what I do. $59.25. This is my mark. Bring this down so I see, okay, that's where I'm cutting. Hold that in place. Grab my friend Brad. This is the stop block I had for the big one. I just pull it up. I got to pull these brads out. I'm going to do that right now so I don't forget and get frustrated later, wonder what the heck's that? Oh, it's a brad from a stop block. Fencing tool, love this guy. All right, just double check, nothing moved. That's my cut. Here's my end. Just a couple little brads. That's my stop block. Got a nice fresh cut edge. I'm just going to see how much moisture's in this baby. Mid 13. 9 would be ideal, but you know, it is cedar. Normally it's way high, so I'm excited, happy, indifferent. So I got my frame for my shutter, and you want the Craigs up because they're going to get covered. That way you don't see them. You got a nice clean back. First thing I do is take my Titebond 3. Put a nice bit of glue on everything. I've already got my pieces cut to length. Again, we're ebonizing these, so I don't like the glue to escape, but it does. I just wipe it up and sand it because glue does not ebonize. Like so. Take my 4 pre-cut strips, flush it with the top. I'm using 1-inch galvanized staples because it's going to be outside. Lock it in place, and I'm going to run my thumb all the way down as I go to make sure it's smooth. About every 8 inches. You can feel it starting to overhang a little bit. Sometimes I'll come down and flush this end. Just gives it a, yeah, that's nice and smooth there. Always do one on the strip in the center. And I'm ready for my next one. You'll see this one's a little wanky, but we're going to be able to pull it in with the clamp. Just flush the end. This one, you've only got 1, 2, 3 connect points. And then you can see the big gap there, but we're just going to, cedar's so easy to pull in or to bend. And I'll show you how I see how this is. There's a little bit of a raised bit there. It's kind of sunk in. I'll show you how I fix that or what I add to it at the end. Flush the end. Run out of staples. Pull it in. You can use a clamp too, but if you got big enough hands, you can pull it in. Nice shutter. So you can see on the back, it's just kind of all uneven here. Lip, lip, lip. So when I was messing with the Craig trying to get it perfect, I went ahead and cragged everything and it was wrong. So these are leftover pieces, which is great for me because I needed a couple extra. They're already cut to 10.5. So I just glue the Craig side somewhere in the middle, doesn't have to be exact. I do that. Take my rubber mallet. See how that pushes everything nice and flat. And then I'm going to add a staple in each board. I like to go at an angle for this one because then the staple just grabs differently, holds it better, I feel like. Because the Georgia sun on this baby with the black, it's going to really test its limits. So I like to give it the best chance possible. Again, somewhere in the middle. With your trusty mallet. Nice and smooth. Beautiful. We almost have a completed shutter. Just have to add my battens. Is that right? Board and batten. Oh, these guys. And it's fun, as I was going through this, I try to pick some funky ones, so we'll have some blondes and blacks, a little bit of contrast. Some pretty cool pieces in this batch. And then, again, I like to line things up nice and pretty. I don't know why. Isn't that satisfying, though? A nice flat stack. Love it. So Rockler makes this glue removal tool. It's called a rag. Sorry, that was a joke. Probably cost $30 from them, but Home Depot. I bought a whole bunch of these rags. Where were you seeing glue, sweetie pie? A little drip. You got major glue squeeze out, just wipe it up, because when you got your perfect little stack, you don't want to drip it. Again, you know the drill. For ebonizing, glue doesn't ebonize. Do you see all the time I spent making sure this is even? Stop it. I know these are 14. I set my stop block up at 14 inches. So I rattled off. I have 12 shutters, 3 pickets, gets me 5 sets of battens. And I just did 3 different boards. That way I've got 3, it's got variety on the batten when it ebonizes. So pretty excited about that. Let's chew on some horse hoof. Gross. Okay, here's how I do it. I keep it simple. Words of Dwight Schrute, keep it simple. So I'm just gonna, this is 3.5. I go 3.5 from the bottom, so I'm gonna use this as a spacer. Pick my fave. I like this knot. And I'm just gonna glue this baby. I got a little too close to the edge again. Glue doesn't ebonize. You know the drill. All right, it looks good. And then all I do is line it up with El Bordo, Spanish for board. Oh, that's unfortunate. This bad boy's broken. I'm in trouble. There it goes. Plunger slowly sliding down. I'm going to put a little silicone on it. See if that helps at all. Beep. Boop. I do that a lot. Boop. Just kidding. But if I was ever to get in a bar fight, if somebody came up to me all big, I'd be like, boop. You think that would work? Yes, it would. They'd be like, ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas. You're funny. Ooh, smell the silicone. It's like WD-40. Should think through that. I don't want to get that on my piece. Just gonna take this scrap. Look at that. Look at all the oil splattering. I don't want that on my shutter. Egg nabbit. Such a good idea, and it's working. There we go. Cleaned it up. Gonna lay that right in front of the door. So I did that top and bottom spacer. Then I'll take my spacer. Oh, here we go again. 3.5, half of 3.5, half of 3 is 1.5 inches, half of a half is 1/4, 1 3/4 is half of 3.5. Catch that? Let's just test my theory. 1 3/4. Oh, who's the man? 1 2 3/4. So the reason I did that, I got to find center down here and center over here, because I made this handy dandy story stick that tells me a story. What is it, stick? Ooh, it's a rom-com. Action adventure. What's the story you're trying to tell, bud? I have lost my mind. All right, story stick set. Center, check. Center, check. Probably check. Check. And I'm just going to make a little line on each side because I got to glue this baby. Going about a 1/2 inch on the inside. Again, I don't want it to squeeze out. All kinds of horrible. I'll do one more doubly do. I'm going to make a mark on the next one. Nice. We're good. Are you good? I'm good. Bada boom, bada bing. Oh man, there it is. Okay, it's not finished. I love these. These look gorgeous. They would complement any home swimmingly, except it's the same color as the brick that they're going on. So I need this and this. Let me show you how I did it. Here we go. All right, so I ebonized my cedar shutters, and sometimes with the ebonizing solution, if it's too old or gets too watered down, or you sand the wood differently, there's so many different things that affect it. It can be really light in color. So this is the ebonized of the new shutters. This was the test shutter that I did. You can see how dark that was. So I just sanded this with the palm sander. This one I ran through the drum sander and got more of a smooth surface. So I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I need it dark. So a lot of you guys commented I should try black tea last time I did the ebonizing video. So that's what I did. This is my ebonizing solution. You can see it's got kind of a reddish tint from the rust. So that's what gave me, I think they're beautiful. They just don't work for this project. So thankfully we had a crap load of black tea. So this has been steeping for about an hour. Put a bunch of bags in there. I did steep one for 15 minutes and brought it down here. And I just took the tea bag and rubbed it on these two, or these three. And you can see how much it darkened it. And this one, I just did tea. I didn't do the tea bag. And you can see, I just did this, so it's still drying. But you can see here and here, it's night and day. So I think we're going to get nice and black. Pretty excited. So I'm going to go ahead and brush just tea on the whole thing. Let it dry and make sure it gets dark the way we want it. And then I'll go back and do all of them. Tomorrow's install day, I hope. All right. Wow, these darkened up real good. This is what they used to look like. Shocking. Pretty cool. Yeah, I should probably brew up some tea and get this one. Just need to water seal them and put them on the house. Love it. So every one of these had multiple wasp nests in it, which made for 30 feet in the air on the front of the house interesting, but These are one-way pins, shutter pins. So it's kind of a pain to pull them out, but I just take a crowbar. And these shutters are so brittle. I'm glad we're not saving them, because a lot of them broke. There's a wasp nest. It's amazing I did not get stung today. Look at all of that. Then all I do is set my new shutter down. I've got it orientated, so I know this is the bottom, and this is just going to be my template to know where to drill the holes. Hey, baby. Put a drill bit in just a little bit better. The mic pinched me, and I thought another wasp. Honestly. In retrospect, I would have made them just a little bit wider because it would have held the template better, but it works out. So I just flush the top. And I'm just making a mark by drilling through the hole. And these are garbage, but it's hard for me to throw them away. My mind's been going all day. If I could use them in the greenhouse, seed trays. Yeah, they're garbage, and I'm having a hard time throwing them away. So you can see I just made a mark so I know where to drill. I'm just going to blow off the sawdust. Put my pins in. Hopefully everything lines up.
This would be easy for someone else to.
And then now I'm just lining up the existing holes, which is really nice. I don't have to drill a bunch of holes in brick. Usually one that fights me, but that went pretty smooth. And then it's just tapping them in. There we go. Out with the old, in with the new. Not going to reuse that one. All right, fine. We'll do the other three without you. Go. Fine, go. You've stayed your hour. Okay, that looks good, however you frame it. Wait, this one's shorter. It's supposed to be.